Looking to get back somewhere up in there. I like the fact that it's all open.
Looking for the mountains.
Pretty amazing.
Looking for that wild place.
I'm up in the saddle now.
Looking for the mountains. Looking for them wild places. Yes. The Cascade Checkers back on the scene.
Back on the scene.
All right. It's the Cascade Checker. Guess where I am? I'm on the scene. This is my scene. I'm at a trailhead, Big Boulder Creek trailhead. Gonna camp here tonight. Gonna organize my food in the morning for 10 to 14 days. This is Challis National Forest, central Idaho. And I'm going into the White Clouds Wilderness, and we're going to check out the White Cloud Peaks. And here we have Boulder Creek over here. Quite a decent flow, and we'll be going up into basically chain lake alpine settings. It's the first week of August, and I've been landlocked trying to let these black biting flies die down from that last attempt at the Snowcrest range. We've got them again here. Not so horrible, not swarming. I'm gonna go for it, and I can't wait any longer. And here, the only thing different about my gear is I'm running this ultralight accordion pad. I've got my bear can here, my food bag. It's not a bear-proof bag, and some other food in here. So the deal is I'm going to stash the bear can here for food for the next trip in this general area, and carry 4 to 5 days worth of food up into the hills. This is not serious bear country. Fact is, there's probably 20 cars in this parking lot, which is I can avoid people because I'm not a lake person, and this is where they're at. They're at the lakes back there. They've got to be just like running all the animals out, all these people. And then some of these trails allow dirt bikes. So I'm not really concerned about bears so much here. I'm just going to store clothing and other supplies in the box, locked, and that's going to be that. I am packing the chest holster and the pistol, only because I told myself, if worst case scenario, it happens, and I don't have that pistol, I'll be one sad sack. And I also have the bear spray, I have the air horn Not sure if I'm going to take it, but that's pretty much it for now. Cascade Trekker on the scene. Here we are, hiking along Big Boulder Creek. Yeah, we have the sun shining on that one there. Surprising the cloud cover last night and this morning. Clouds are looking menacing. There's no call for rain. It was really thick last night and this morning. Here's the intersection. Wilderness boundary right here. And this is where the motorcycles go this way. White Clouds Wilderness. Don't drop your camera, man. It's waterproof. Whoa. Alright. I've been going about 3.5 miles. Some pretty steep sections down this way. We've got Boulder Creek right here in this thicket here of shrubs, willows, and there's a huge meadow over here, which is interesting. Alright, so I found this perfect opportunity for camp chairs. The trail is about 75 yards this way, and the throngs of people are back at Walker Lake, which I have no desire to camp at any lakes unless I have to, mostly because of the bugs, and that's where people congregate. But I saw this shady section over here close to the creek, nice forest floor, and I'm just gonna drop the pack and just feel it for a little while. There's my zone. It's the second day of the Cascade Trekker trip into the White Clouds Wilderness. Today was a short hike. Logistics dictated that I kind of pull back this day and push through the throngs of people tomorrow into lakes draining into Watkins Lake, I think, the main lake where everybody's at. And so I got the zone set. The trail's real close, just over here, and nobody looks over here, and I'll have solitude. and the creek is just down here. So yeah, I've got my water all set, and I'm just gonna relax. You know, surprisingly, I think the driving of the motorcycle is a bit taxing, and that was 3 to 4 hours yesterday. Here I am closer to this, almost near the bottom of it. I'm out for a scouting survey. My gear's back this way, and the creek is just down here. Some nice open spaces here. I think the trail cuts up this way. I can see further back into the probably where the lakes are. Hard to say. The trail might keep going back this way. It might curl this way, but I doubt it. It'll be up there tomorrow. That was my zone last night. Pretty chilly. We're talking 40 degrees in the tent last night. Really surprising. Maybe being that I'm close to the creek. The sunrise was perfect. You know, just through here. But the sun became finicky with lots of cloud cover this morning, and just a little while ago it started to break up. Okay, so this clearing right through here, it's where the trail is, and I can just sit here and watch people go by, you know, waiting for them to look. I'll wave. Nobody seems to look over here, and it's just such an opportune place with the huge meadow just over here and very little flat camping possibilities along the way. Anyway, so I get to gauge their physical exertion by how heavy their pack is and all the stuff they have. I'd seen one guy hiking with just sandals, and I probably could have sold my boots to him for $500. He sat down and was having trouble with probably a rock or something on his foot. All right, so there were a few animal sounds, larger animal sounds, last night, close to dusk, and we've got a long kind of stretch of sage and trees going this way. I heard probably a deer trot away last night, maybe heard me or saw my tent. And this morning, oddly enough, because with all of these people coming through here, I told myself I have nothing to worry about as far as larger animals with large teeth, being the bear. So this is after a few people have been through back and forth. Over this way, I heard a loud branch snap. That's below the trail. And then further this way, just a very short time later, some rocks or boulders being scattered about. There's nothing that can make that noise other than a bear. And so I almost got up to go investigate, and I'm thinking, well, just let it go. Nothing's gonna happen. And so, yeah, maybe there are some big animals with teeth I should worry about back here. And we're gonna head up into the alpine reaches. Probably tonight I won't have tree cover. Camping high up in those, alpine lake areas. Something I want to add about bears, and with my activities, encounters, even like non-encounters, but knowing the bears nearby, I've had bears just kind of hanging out, spying on me. Alright? I mean, I can't imagine what else would be behind a row of trees overnight, making noise, with just me there. Other times, I've had bears, 80 yards distant, just making noise, breaking branches, but not approaching, not leaving, just kind of like knowing that I'm there, and maybe they're agitated or want attention. I don't know. What I think is mostly they're curious. You know, there could be this bear watching me right now just because he's curious. And I can't blame these guys for being curious. Alright, it's about a quarter mile from camp, and we got some really nice views all of a sudden. I guess I am glad I stayed down there. There's just a bunch of steep slopes. After that, no water access. And to sort of put an end cap to that bear story, just after filming, I heard branch snapping like 4 or 5 times going up the slope from camp. Starting to see some older trees. That's nice. This one's getting up there. Yeah, we're right next to this peak I filmed this morning and yesterday. The creek is down here. Steep canyon here. And we're getting into these rocky moraines. And the trail's kind of cutting through these Boulder forests. Yeah, was a bend thicket back here. Just up and down, around and over boulders and through the forest. No real good views for a while. And this we have the cutoff for Walker Lake and Island Lake. It was quite a steep climb up into this kind of lake basin. Creek is kind of meandering down with standing pools, and probably I'm getting closer to the lake. I'm not sure how far. Walker Lake. I thought we'd hear kids yelling and babies crying and, you know, boom boxes. It's just like super quiet here. You can see the fish. They're not that big. The camera makes them look bigger, but just interesting to watch. I could sit right here and watch them for hours. They're just kind of congregating over here. I'm gonna push on maybe another, I don't know, half mile, but it's all uphill from here. This last bit was pretty flat, real easy going, and so I'm just gonna have to get my second wind going, third or fourth wind I think it is. And what I have to believe is, because there are no mosquitoes right now, they were frozen out last night. Temperature in my tent was 40, and that was a good 1,500 feet down in elevation. And it puts it at 35 there. It had to be freezing up here last night. I'm not complaining. The Cascade Trekker is on the scene. There's the lake down there. I'm just kind of following these cairns. Been a couple cairns. Motivation is kind of picking up just because it's a little bit exciting going off trail and kind of adventurous. Here's a cairn. It looks like a rough track right here. Alright, here's a check-in. I've come up above Walker Lake. Hit or miss trail, no big deal. And the creek is right over here. The drainage feeding Walker Lake, draining from Sheep Lake up higher. And I crossed paths with a guy and his daughter, which I figured I'd see someone back here and just hit him up for info. And he tuned me into this trail. It looks a little crazy. Basically hops over this steep ridge, which I'll show in a second, over to the Boulder chain lakes and Sapphire Lake, which is in the middle. It's the destination for the backcountry people fishing and stuff like that. So he told me there's a lot of people over there, etc. My big loop probably won't happen. It's too much of a risk. He had a really good USGS map showing fine contours, and that last bit just looked a bit hairy. And no one knows I'm here, so I'm gonna keep it basically in this general area, this drainage here. I can hop over to the Boulder chain lakes, and there's another lake I can hike down to, which they came up out of, and have kind of a smaller loop. So I'll get a bit of adventure, and I'll basically hike out on the same Big Boulder Creek trail. And so that kind of puts a safety net in my mind where I'm not going someplace that I'm not familiar with, and I've become quite familiar with these lakes, drainages, just by talking with people, looking on the maps, and now I've got a good plan. So let me just zoom into this shortcut to Boulder Chain Lakes, and this is maybe a half mile up from Walker Lake. Alright, so where are we at? It's right up through here. And he says you can look for that tree thing or whatever where it looks like there's a person standing there. So there's a trail going up to that. There's a trail going up to that. He said it's a little loose, well defined. Basically, up from Walker Lake, there's kind of like a landing, which you can kind of look around and see. It's flat. And he said just over in this direction is kind of a marshy area, and it's just off to the left. One thing that is imperative is I have to find an extremely perfect tent location for that lightweight thin pad. It's been giving me problems these last 2 nights. And I saw this. Somebody's been digging in this. Oh, look at this. Come on. This has got to be a bear tearing through here, looking for grubs. And I did have a big animal smell a little while back. Alright, well, we know they're here, and I'm just gonna have to do my best with this. I guess I'm climbing again. Not much. I'm hoping just to reach a crest right here and look for some camping. The creek is right in here. Here's the rough track trail going up towards Sheep Lake. Alright, let's do it. Because look, this is like the biggest, oldest tree I've seen right here, tucked way in to this wild area. Wow, pretty amazing. The drainage is right here, the creek, and I'm hoping that Sheep Lake is just around this corner. It looks like the trees are gonna run out, and I'd like to have some tree cover tonight. And we've got some here, and they might go down the other side. I guess we'll find out. Well, I sure kicked butt today. Here we go. Be slippery there. Got this. More stair steps. Whoosh. Alright, here's the next landing. And I'm making a beeline for these trees to see if there's camping. And I'll have access to this flowing water. Oh, it's looking good. I hope there's some flat spots. Oh. Well, the view is just amazing. And I'm looking at, where was it? Was it here? Yeah, I was looking at this right here. Okay, if I could smooth out these branches, this just might work. I'm gonna try and work with this. What an amazing spot. This might be the best camp location ever, because this view this way is just spectacular. I earned this one today. I came out of a 2 or 3 week funk just to burn it today. And here we are right above this climb. I was over in this area. It's a fantastic place to be right now. That, my friends, was the beloved Clark's Nutcracker. And I know I'm high in elevation when I see these guys. Speaking of elevation, I think I climbed 2,400 feet today. Awesome. And mileage, I think maybe 5 miles. We'll call it 5 miles. Yeah, so I got great news for the bugs. There was a frost up here last night, and it frosted them out. They're frozen out. It doesn't mean they're not going to be around. I had a couple down there by the lake, but that's just like the best news in a long time, especially for these black flies. All right, so we got that, and another great bit of information is tomorrow is the full moon. And I think it's the sturgeon full moon. We'll find out. But I have the best panoramic view for that moonrise tonight. And I'm almost thinking it'll be right straight down the valley. And for me, the day before is always the best for the full moon cycle, because it just feels like ripe and ready to blast. And that's tonight. And we'll have great clear skies, I'm sure. Here it is. Moonrise. A few minutes late, but there it is. It's like in the perfect place too. This was my view from my camp last night. Amazing place to be. I've been milking my mornings. This was a great place to milk the morning with coffee and reading. And the reason being is there's no rush to do what I want to do back here. What I'm doing is following this drainage up. I'm going to hop over the ridge, which will be, you know, boulder hopping, stair stepping, traverse over a saddle into the next drainage, which is just beyond this first lower ridge, maybe a mile up and a mile down, and that's it for today. To these other upper lakes, the big Boulder Lake chain is just over here, so there's no rush. Sheep Lake here, not far from camp. It's deep. Making my way around, wasn't sure which side to take. I'm glad I came this way. It's like there's a cove over here, and I guess I'll make my way up that grassy slope, and from there, I'm not sure, probably I'll stay on the top there, the second granite ridge, and angle towards that saddle back there. Just fantastic up here. Been following the drainage. It's coming down over here. And I'm going up through this saddle here. Alright. I'm just going to go right straight up this. Looks real simple. And just a little bit of boulder hopping there. And I might take that little bit of shoulder you see here looks about the easiest. And then I guess there is a lake up here tucked in. And here we have another saddle that it's doable. You just have to go up the left side there and stay away from that scree. Yeah. In another day and time, this place would have been full of sheep and mountain goats. There were some signs down lower, and I got a really big smell of animals. The great thing about not being in a hurry, you can just take a snail's pace and admire everything, you know, and looking down at the rocks here, I found a piece, and I think there's a piece of gold in there. It's just right on the edge of that quartz, right in the middle, kind of up top here. So, if you're going slow, you can also do some prospecting along the way. I saw one piece sticking out. I didn't see any shiny stuff in it, but why not? Alright, we got some mountain goats up here. Right there. Oh, looks like a young'un on the right there. 4. And see, I wouldn't have noticed, except 2 of them had a brief tussle. And you can't even see them in there. Like the color just blends right in. See? Alright, we got some mountain goats up here. Right there. Oh, looks like a young'un on the right there. 4. And see, I wouldn't have noticed, except 2 of them had a brief tussle. And you can't even see them in there. Like the color just blends right in. See? Down there. Hey, little guy. That's another thing about just going slow. I've been looking for these guys, but it usually takes a noise to give them away. And they just went around the corner there to be out of sight. And so I found some gold, and I found some mountain goats. Yeah, just amazing up here. Getting up here, I can see the Lost River Range way back there, almost down to the bottom of East Fork of the Salmon River. And the goats were right up here. And I'm looking at, it's climbing up this way. It almost looks like kind of a scrambled trail right here. And I'll edge over. Wow, look at this one up here. Forget the name, I'll have to plug it in. And just to the point where I'll see if my plan worked. I hope there's access to that saddle. It's not serious. I mean, look, we've got some serious cliffs here. You know, even that one. Alright, so I'm just gonna beeline right through here. Wow, look at this. Kind of nuts. It feels good. Feels good, real good. We came up this, and we've got easy access. I see the scramble trail right through here, and it actually does come down the draw. Yeah, here it is. This is the pinnacle of the trip. This is where I start to go back down. Just amazing up here. I'm not sure of the elevation. It's got to be close to 10,000 feet. And we've got the big Boulder Lake chain down here. This middle one, Sapphire Lake. I think that one's Big Boulder Lake. And I don't know the name of this first one back here. Lots of people down here. I could see people moving around, climbing this way, down in this drainage. And what I think is I'm going to look for a spot way up high, hopefully to find some draining water from this top lake. Okay, I've chosen my camp spot. It's just up in here. I came down from the saddle up here. The view is amazing. Looking this way, you'll see. However, I have to go all the way down there to get water and come back. And I'm not really comfortable leaving the pack, and I'm probably gonna have to use the pack to carry the water back up. It's just how it is. It'll be the topping on the cake for the day. Alright. This is my zone. Here's the tent. I'm above Sapphire Lake back here. Sapphire Lake over here. We've got these peaks all around. And these long distance views of the Lost River mountain range. It's got to be 40 to 50 miles out. And here's some of the closer peaks. Might be Sheep Peak over there somewhere. And there's the pass. I was the pass hog for about 2 hours, and then I relinquished the pass to a couple other guys. It was a good day. It's the next morning. I'm getting ready to head out. It's a bit hazy out there on the horizon. And just going down through that draw there. And basically from there, in between the peak here, is Island Lake and a hiking trail going out. Again, this is the big Boulder lake basin here. Oddly enough, there are no hiking trails, legitimate hiking trails coming in. I came in through this pass, and we can estimate that there were at least 30 people in here in this triple lake basin this weekend, maybe more. Okay, so there's the Island Lake route, there's the Hopover Ridge route just around the corner here, and then the route I came in this way. And looking at my map, this peak here is 11.5, I think. And that pass is close to 10,000 feet. So yeah, I've been up here, up in elevation. This pass here leads to another basin, which this way going up looks quite doable. The one I was looking at, I don't know if it's doable or not. I have to think it's straight that way, and between those two peaks there. Maybe another day. This is always kind of the funnest stuff for me to go through. Like a big, long carpeted staircase, all open. We're gonna end up down there. Yeah, it's pretty pretty amazing back here. It's just tons of forest and rolling granite ridges. Standing water here. Pretty big lake tucked in back here. And what I think is I've happened on the route that hops over to Watkins Lake, and I want to go over this way. Guess I'll have to walk around the lake, or maybe double back and just go this way. I've found a trail here, kind of faint, but something to follow. Here's a lake, and the draw is right over there. Here it is. It's the drainage from the lake chain. And I'm thinking I have to stay up higher and kind of curl around the ridge top here for a while. I can see the end of it, maybe. It might just be a butte or something. Well, this is not Island Lake. This is Walker Lake. It's gotta be. Just figured this draw was the draw, but it's further over this way. It's gotta be. No, I'm not going that way. We're gonna double back and play it safe. Wow. I've been going for over an hour through this stuff. Hit the wrong saddle and drainage. And it's just gotta be the other one over here. But it just seemed like it was too far back. And I haven't seen one person back here yet. I was hoping to get some information. Well, I guess I'm just gonna drop down there. It's probably gonna be the easiest instead of going up and down over these moraines. Man, this has got crazy back here. I've been kind of keeping the same elevation all the way through this messy stuff here, and it still doesn't seem right. I've seen a few footprints here and there. Alright, I'm gonna just go around the corner here and see if I can get a view. I think the ridge is right up here. Okay. It's kind of starting to feel right. And I just need to keep heading towards the second highest peak in that line there. Well, I was hoping for a view. I might get it from over here. And this cliffs out. There's no way I want to be down in that draw. Probably can't get there now. Well, I guess ask and you shall receive. Here's the lake. Just got to get down there. And there's a trail outlet down at the bottom. It's got to be the right one. I can kind of see some trails over here. Getting closer, slowly. This cliffs out right here. You can tell there's no trees below it, but I see some trees over here just right through the crack. So just gonna look over this way. It's got to come down somewhere. Still a ways down. So I almost took this little chute over here, but I wasn't sure of a drop-off over there. And so I came over here, and this is all doable right here. And I can just switch down. Yeah, I got this. Touchdown right here. Oh, yeah. So right here, I don't see a worn root. You look for the yellowing, like over here. Wow, it's really warmed up today. Could also be that I dropped in elevation, but I came from all the way just below that vertical snow patch. I guess that saddle coming down that slope was the pass I climbed yesterday. Came all the way across, down, and then back this way. I'm doing alright. Real close to the end point for the day. It's going to be the first place I camped back here. Alright. Back at the first campsite. So glad to be done. I was really feeling it, coming down. You know, that pass was 10,000 feet. The parking lot, 65, maybe. That's 3,500 feet up. I'll get some good numbers, mileage and all that. But yeah, that backcountry trek really hit me hard. Alright, so I've got the upper body clean. I've got this shirt, well, rinsed. The great thing was, I was down in the creek and I just put this in the water, submerged it, and then put it back on my body. Oh man, amazing. It was really cold, but it just totally took the edge off of that hot hike. And so now I'm gonna wash my feet, soak my feet, clean my privates, change my socks, and then we're just gonna chill. It's ice cold, but it feels so good. It literally is ice cold. And we got some fresh new socks. Might as well rinse these off. Wow, I'm feeling great now. Here I am, back at the beginning. Check the bike. Everything looks good. No leakies, no flat tires. Alright, got one more thing to check. So I stashed my bear can back here. Looks like it's still there. Yep. Unmolested. Yeah, we got probably, let's see here, 6 or 7 days of food in here. Scratch. No, we're good.